What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we're jumping in with a little bit of Destiny 2 news, or more specifically Bungie news. And this is a pretty unfortunate report in a lot of ways because, as we've seen with a lot of game developers over the past few months, especially this year, it would appear that Bungie are the most recent studio to be hitting a bunch of their employees with layoffs. Which means to say essentially Bungie are getting rid of staff. That includes Destiny 2 developers, and even community managers. And obviously while reporting on this, it's worth saying obviously it sucks, and I really feel for the folks at Bungie that have been affected by this. It's pretty early days with this news breaking as well, but I wanted to cover it as I may not have the opportunity later on today. As the Destiny Bulletin said, it appears that Bungie is undergoing a series of layoffs this week in addition to those that occurred in the last few weeks. And they said as well that several employees have shared that they've been laid off due to a reduction in force at Bungie. Plus Jason Schreier, who's a pretty reliable source, said Destiny 2 developer Bungie is the latest PlayStation studio to have layoffs. The full scope isn't clear yet, but CEO Pete Parsons emailed the company this morning to say they'll be having a team meeting today where they'll talk about some news coming out of Bungie. And in terms of how this news may affect Destiny 2, right now there hasn't been an official statement from Bungie, but also according to Jason Schreier, Bungie laid off an undisclosed number of staff today, part of ongoing job cuts across PlayStation, but the company recently delayed the upcoming Destiny 2 expansion, The Final Shape, to June 2024, and the new game Marathon to 2025. Destiny Bulletin have also reported on this. Obviously, this is not good news for Destiny whatsoever. Bloomberg also reported, with Final Shape moving from June to February, it pushes it out of Sony Group Corp's current fiscal year, and the folks with knowledge of Bungie did ask to not be publicly identified because they weren't authorized to speak publicly about it. So obviously, in terms of Destiny, it's just dreadful news that Final Shape is going to see a delay. The one thing I would say is that we do need to wait for Bungie to announce that. There's a lot of stuff going on today at Bungie, and there will be a lot of emotions around as well, which isn't to discredit anyone who's had a dreadful day as a Bungie employee, but in terms of Bungie plans, we should wait for an official statement from Bungie. But this is looking really bad, and I'm not sure how the gap will be filled between now and Final Shape. And of course, Marathon's being pushed back too, at least according to that report. So it's really not a good news day, and it's difficult for me to comment further on it until Bungie have something to say. Obviously, if those delays are occurring, then we are going to hear that from Bungie at some point in the very immediate future, I would assume. So we'll have to look out for that. But back to all the Bungie employees who've been laid off. Again, it sucks, and it's something that no one should have to go through in their work life, especially when this is happening in essence because a lot of these companies are mismanaged. We've seen it recently with PlayStation in particular. Various studios under the PlayStation umbrella have been laying off folks over the past few months. We also heard about the retirement of Jim Ryan from PlayStation, and potentially related to this, the head of internal studios at PlayStation actually got pushed out last week. And obviously there is a potential connection, especially there, to what's going on at Bungie right now. So as to whether Sony have an influence over what's occurring, it seems very likely that that's the case. As I said though, even community managers have been affected by this, and this news is coming in particular at a very bad time for Destiny in a lot of ways, especially where players are worrying about the future of the game, the Final Shape expansion. Of course, we had the Rocky Lightfall launch. There have been other controversial bits of news related to Bungie decision making, problems with staff in the studio, and frustrations in our community specifically around Destiny. So this is a news that seems remotely positive, where Bungie are essentially reducing their workforce, announcing delays for a live service game that they've supported for 10 years. And it's a significant delay as well. Yeah, today's turned into a pretty bad day in terms of Bungie news, in terms of Destiny news, the potential implications for Destiny the franchise moving forward, and even titles that Bungie haven't released yet. And honestly, given the amount of money that these companies generate, it's hard to imagine how it's even possible that they find themselves in this position, and the greed that is necessary, because surely that has to be a component. I'm not an expert on this stuff, but I can't get my head around how these messes occur. I'm gonna leave it there, guys. Really difficult to say much more until Bungie give us some news, but it sounds like a pretty bad news day. Let us know what you think down below, regardless of whether the delays are coming or not for Destiny content and other game content. I really feel for all the developers affected by the news today, and obviously I wish all those folks the best in finding something else fulfilling and securing their livelihoods. Yeah, it's just not good stuff. Give us your thoughts down below, and I'll keep you posted if we hear any more. Otherwise though, cheers for tuning in. I'll catch you guys very soon.